はい、皆様、本日はお忙しい中お集まりいただき、ありがとうございます。私、ジェトロの、ニューデリー事務所におります、川崎と申します。よろしくお願いいたします。本日、事務局として、ジェトロ側から同じくニューデリーにいます、大滝、も、入っております。それからですね、事務局として、デジタルだけではなく、日本、インディア、デジタルイノベーション AIF という団体、と一緒にですね、日印ファンドオブファンズという、活動を、しておりまして、インドのスタートアップを皆様に、紹介して、投資だったり、協業連携の機会につながればという意図で、今回、第7弾のイベントを開催させていただきます。この後、私も事前に、資料など見ましたけども、非常に魅力的な3社のスタートアップより、ロボティックスに関連するところですね、プレゼンをいただきますので、楽しみに聞いていただければと思います。Okay, so Tamanji, can you start your part? Floor is yours.
Sure. Thanks a lot, Kawasaki-san. Thank you again to Jetro, Meti, Otaki-san, and Kawasaki-san for helping us and collaborating in this event. Thank you all, the audience, for your time in joining this event. And lastly, this would not have been possible without the founders who will be presenting today. So thank you all the founders as well. I'll quickly introduce Nippon India Digital Innovation AIF. So we were actually ideated in the 2019 G20 summit in Osaka between the two prime ministers of India and Japan. We are an Indo-Japan based fund of fund, where we have investors who are large Japanese corporates, and we invest in early to growth stage venture capital technology funds in India. As you can see, we have invested in 12 early to growth stage VC funds in India. Our performance as of March 2023 is quickly indicated here. The gross MOIC in INR terms is 1.73x, which indicates the fair value of startups divided by the cost of startups. We have a net TVPI in terms of JPY of 1.25x. Net TVPI deducts the fees of our underlying VC funds as well as the fees and expenses of Needy. We have access to 243 unique startups via the VC funds that we have invested in as of March 2023. We have a very strong parentage in the sense that Nissay, the asset management arm of Nippon Life Insurance Company, is our ultimate parent. We are also anchored by Nissay along with two large banks in Japan. We have 7 large Japanese investors as our LPs. Quickly moving on, this is a quick snapshot of the length and breadth of startups that we have access to via Fund 1. As you can see, sectorally, we have exposure to enterprise tech, deep tech, D2C brands, mobility, health tech, consumer tech, and fintech. You would see Miko.ai, Ottonomy, and Zero Robotics present in today's event. Double clicking on the health of the portfolio, as I mentioned, we have 243 unique startups. There are 251 total startups across 11 funds as of March 23. So you can see there are only 8 overlapping startups. By that, I mean there are only 8 startups where more than one VC fund in our portfolio has invested. There are 157 revenue generating startups out of these 243 startups, and I have plotted them quickly on the right hand side. So 60 out of these 157 startups have an annualized revenue of less than $1 million. 38 have an annualized revenue between $1 to $5 million, and so on. In terms of valuation, 58 startups out of these 243 startups are valued at more than $50 million valuation. They have a healthy cash runway of 18 months. And also 127 startups have recently raised a round. We engage with Japanese audience via 2 events. One is a biannual event that we conduct exclusively for our Japanese investors. As I mentioned, we have 7 large Japanese institutional investors who have invested in our fund. We have had 5 biannual events till now, and more than 40 startups have presented in these events. Secondly, thanks to Jetro and METI for this partnership, we do theme-based events where we've had again 7 events till date. Today's event is focused on robotics. In the past, we've had events in enterprise tech, construction tech, health tech, AR, VR, and mobility. Lastly, we are raising Fund 2. Fund 2 will be a replica of Fund 1, plus it will add a flavor of direct investments. Fund 2 is split into Fund 2A and Fund 2B. Fund 2A is to be launched in India, where we will target domestic Indian investors. Fund 2B is to be launched in an offshore structure where we will primarily focus Japanese investors. Fund 2B will invest in early stage tech VC funds in India, similar strategy as Fund 1, and it will also get access to direct investments via Fund 2A. We intend to invest in 10 to 12 India-focused VC funds via Fund 2B, and it will have a sectoral exposure from seed to Series A. It is expected to be a $150 million fund with a 50 million green shoe option. The timelines are first close targeted around end of this year or first quarter of next year. And as I said, 20 to 30% of Fund 2B would be invested in Fund 2A in order to get access to direct investments. Our fund manager, Sachin Bed-san, the head of AI, Ashish Chugani-san, and Takamizu Hara-san, who's the representative of Nisei in India, are planning to visit Japan between 7th September and 14th September. I would be happy to arrange in-person meetings with any of the attendees who would be interested to know more. Yeah, that's all from my end today. Thank you. Okay, so I think the first startup, Miko Robotics, is Sneha-san is already present. Miko Robotics is actually a consumer robotics startup. It has developed an AI-powered robot for children. Sneha-san is one of the co-founders of Miko Robotics. He has previously worked with Siemens. He has also had a startup in IIT Bombay focused on underwater robotics. He graduated from IIT Bombay in 2013. Over to you, Sneha-san.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Tanmay. Thank you so much, everyone. And thank you, Jetro, for organizing this. I'll just share my screen and start presenting. I'm Sneha Vaswani. I am the co-founder and CEO at Miko. At Miko, we basically help parents raise kids in the modern world by giving them an AI companion that opens up the entire world of opportunities for a child. It's an 8-year-old startup. We started our company in 2015. And if you closely observe how the organization has built, a very big summary, brief summary, this year we are on track for $75 million in revenue. It's a EBITDA positive organization from this year. There are over 10 plus, there are over 11 plus patents that the company has filed. So far, we have raised more than $50 million of venture capital money. And we have offices across US, UK, and India. So if you if you see the core problem that we are trying to solve, childhood has seen a very big change in the past decade, where the mental wellness of kids is having challenges, where if you see in the US, almost 20% kids need some form of therapy session, anxiety, depression, lesser reading levels, lesser physical activity, lesser engagement. Social skills have taken a beating due to pandemic lockdowns. And this impact on childhood, we wanted to reverse this trend. And what we did was, how can artificial intelligence and robotics play a role for giving personalized improvement in social emotional learning levels of a child? And we saw that when a child is in the age of 4 to 8 years of age, that is the age when technology can come and add real positive value in social emotional levels of a child before the child enters into preteens. With that thought process, we spent over 2 to 3 years from 2015 to 17 building the first product, deployed it in India. It was a big success. Then we made the second version, our second product, launched it in the US, launched our third product in 2021 in the US. And over a period of time, the philosophy of the product has become, how can we improve social skills, physical mental well-being, and cognitive skills? And with specific focus on these areas, the system is basically a robot that will first understand the child. It will take recommendations from parents. It will then drive new experiences with the child, which are personalized and towards a specific impact area. Then it will reassess the child and make a report card to the parent, and then it will evolve with the child. As you've seen so many consumer robotics companies in Japan, our thought process has been, how can Miko as a robot have and add real value in the life of the child and shape the childhood in a positive manner with clear quantified improvements reported to the parent and grow with the child as a companion. So that was the thought process of the entire research that we started and started rolling out products. I'll play a very small video of our product and then I'll jump back onto the presentation.
Also, while Sneh is playing the video, I would like to remind all the attendees that in case there are any questions, please feel free to post them in the Q&A box for Sneh to take them up.
Let's go find Miko. Hello, Miko, can you hear me?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Can you tell us a joke?
Where do books hide when they are scared? Under the covers. Oh, excuse me. Good boy.
Miko, how do you stay out of sight?
How else? Camouflage.
Miko, do you want to dance?
You found me. Let's dance. I am doing the robot. Miko. Ridiculously smart. Seriously fun.
So as you can see, the robot is a cute companion robot that engages, educates, and entertains kids. The more children interact with it, it understands them and initiates new experiences on their topics of interest. So for a child, it's a Pixar movie character brought to life. For a parent, it is a growing platform that has whole new experiences coming every month. So after 1 month of buying, after 12 months, after 24 months, there is something new on Miko for the child to explore. And parents get complete progress reports on their phone and completely child safe with full privacy and data in the hands of the parent. So the business model is simple. We sell the robot and offer content and services through the robot on subscription. So one can buy the robot for $200 US and from a consumer store like a retail store or a consumer electronics store or a toy store. And the backend technology that is built onto the product is available on the robot, where the robot starts conversations with you. It could start a conversation and say, hey, Sneh, how was your day in school? What did you learn today? And it will start self-initiate long discussions and engage with you on long topics. It is emotionally intelligent. It is having all the modalities of a cutting edge consumer robot at a price point like $200 US. And besides that, just like you have Netflix, there is an entire ecosystem of apps which are available on the robot, which you can avail that. The apps are published by global app partners like the Walt Disney Group, Viacom, Oxford, Da Vinci. They all have come in and published their apps on Miko. And a parent can avail it on subscription, $49 a quarter and $99 a year. What the robot does, it will understand the child and then suggest that at this time, what is the appropriate app for the child and recommend it to the child and engage the child from there. That is the beauty of the entire offer. So where are we as a business? We've been consistently growing year on year at 2.5x on an average. So in March 22 year end, we were at 12.6 million. That grew to 28 million. Now this year at 75 million. And this 2.5x average is going on for the past 3-4 years itself. And on the business, 50% of the average revenue per user is coming in, the 50% of the lifetime value is coming in from the hardware, and 50% of the lifetime value is coming in from the subscription. It's an EBITDA positive company, and users are spread across 140 plus countries. We have brought in artificial intelligence into our marketing as well, where we've been able to demonstrate 80% reduction in customer acquisition cost in 1 year. We are selling our robots through our website, through e-commerce companies, and through retail stores. So all of this technology, all of this marketing and selling the robot, what value is it bringing into the life of the child? There are clear objective reporting that goes to a parent on the improvement that a child is witnessing, and in social skills, cognitive skills, and well-being, and the parent can take an informed call. The future that we see is in 2025 and beyond, a parent will rely on such platforms to help them in their parenting needs, where they can make recommendations to the robot on what they expect, and the robot will work on it every day for 4 to 5 hours and come back with a report card to the parent. Because today's day and age, nuclear families, both the parents are working. They have very little time for the child, but they want to do as much as possible for the child. So technology can play a role in bringing all of them together. And that is the goal of the company. A quick background about the team. Myself and my 3 co-founders, we are all alumni from IIT Bombay. We've been into robotics since 2008, since we were students at IIT Bombay. We've been, I was a technical role of honor at IIT Bombay. They gave this award to only 2 students in 60 years. And at the same time, my co-founder, he looks at technology and research. Chintan looks at manufacturing and supply chain. We've been backed by IFL, Chirate, Walt Disney Group as an investor, Ivy Cap Ventures, Your Nest, Stride Ventures, and Nippon is an LP into Chirate, as Tanmay had explained. We have a global management team in product, sales, and marketing across different verticals who are based out of US, Canada, UK, and into different territories, focusing on the global brand and awareness of the brand in global geographies. Our main market is the US right now, where we are the #1 robot in the US, and we are expanding into more geographies as the US market also is growing. And overall in the company, there are almost 275 to 300 employees, from which 200 employees are into product development and R&D. There are 14 plus disciplines: engineers, artists, mathematicians, designers, psychologists, teachers, linguists, good mix of product people who are working on the product. These are seniors and masters and PhDs who have come together to build it. And the rest 75 to 100 employees are into business roles, into selling the product and building the brand in global geographies. Where do we plan to take the company from here? From this year at 75 million, we want to take it to $1 billion revenue we want to be the response of AI from India and Asia on the global map. And as a consequence, we are building this as a multi-decade journey. This is not a short-term journey for us where we build something for 5 years and try to take a quick exit. We see this as a minimum 20 to 40-year journey for the founders, for which IPO is the way to go forward. We plan to go to an IPO in 2 years time frame from now. And for that, we have done some workings on where do we need to get to before the IPO. At a gross margin profile, we are this year at almost 56% and a contribution margin of 27%, EBITDA margin of 9%, and cash generated would be 4 to 5% in the business. We are raising capital to maintain this growth rate because the free cash that the business would generate would not support the 2.5 to 3x growth rate year on year. That's the reason why we are raising equity. The use of proceeds would be primarily R&D, 40% R&D, 40% marketing, and 20% for acquisitions. So this year, while you see a Miko 3 of $199, this year we are launching a $99 robot and a $49 robot, where the $99 and the $49 robots will be massive volume drivers. And we would be having almost 1 million robots being sold this year alone. And the goal is to get to 10 million robots being sold 5 years from now. There's an ecosystem of content companies. So after a parent buys the robot, they subscribe to the content, they subscribe to the services. And through the services, kids can learn new languages. They can take sessions from therapists. And ultimately, we've also started acquiring new businesses. So we've acquired one company, Square, that makes a robotic chessboard, where when you make a move on chess, the pieces on the other side move on their own. We are 70% owners in the business. And this is becoming a connected accessory to Miko, where Miko will teach a child to play chess, where Miko will compete with a child and engage the child on different board games. So like this, we are having connected ecosystem built around Miko for the child. So this is our overall, while in the past few years, last year, we had a lot of interest coming in from Japan to launch the product in the Japanese market. While there are many consumer robots in Japan, this entire app ecosystem plus the content and services model providing benefits in social emotional level, that was not seen in our landscaping in Japan that we had observed. We put in a small team in Japan who is working to localize the product as per the Japanese market, as per Japanese parents. Not only the languages, but the cultural alignment has to be there with the Japanese market, which we see as a 6-month effort overall. And the major USP is that this technology can go for children as well as senior citizen care. So that's another area that we are looking at inside the Japanese market. We've seen a lot of demand coming in from major retailers in Japan for our product because it's one of the most successful products in the US. Before launching in Japan, we feel we should be 100% ready for that market. And we are currently putting our head down and focusing on getting the product ready for that market. For kids, English education, STEM, and having content partners from anime and manga are what we are working on right now to put onto Miko and then launch it into the Japanese market in 2024. So this is where we are as a business and our focus into Japan. So thank you so much. I guess I've been given 15 minutes to speak. That ends my time here. If there are any more questions, I'll be happy to take them. And thank you so much for the opportunity.
Thank you very much, Sneha. The really interesting video also that you showed. We will wait for questions for a minute.
Sure.
I think if there are any questions. Okay, I cannot see any questions for now. So thank you, Sneha. Thanks a lot for your presentation. It would be really helpful if you can share the PPT.
Absolutely. I'll send it out.
We'll quickly launch a poll as well, and we will make an introduction directly with you if there's any interest. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Domo arigato gozaimasu. Thank you.
Thanks. While Kawasaki-san would launch the poll, we already have Ritukar, who's the co-founder of Ottonomy. From consumer robotics, we'll delve into industrial robotics, and Ottonomy actually helps make autonomous delivery robots. Ritukar is one of the co-founders who has previously worked with Aptiv high-tech robotic systems, TCS, and he's graduated as an engineer. Over to you, Ritukar.
Thanks, Tanmay, and hi, team, everybody on the panel right now. So just to introduce myself briefly, I'm Ritukar. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Ottonomy. Spent almost 16 years in autonomous driving and robotics. Just before starting Ottonomy in 2020, I was living in Germany, working for a company called Aptiv. And there, my core focus or core responsibility was to manage BMW's urban autopilots, which was kind of a parallel to Tesla FSD. It was pretty much that time when we realized that autonomous cars will take more time to hit the mainstream. And, how can we use the technology know-how to solve some real-time scenarios? So we scanned through entire supply chain. And what we realized was that last mile delivery or delivery in general was one of the most, expensive and complicated segment of supply chain. And at the same time, it was underserved, because if you look at warehousing, so, it is, there are so many players, so many, solutions which are constantly coming up to handle that material movement. But when it comes to last mile delivery, there were a handful of companies which were doing it. So that's what, we thought that we should focus on. We started Ottonomy. So I'll start sharing my screen. And just give me a second.
And for the attendees, if there are any questions, please do post it on the Q&A chat box.
So can you see the screen? Okay. So what the problem which we are trying to solve here is, the labor shortages, which is, across the globe in a way that, US definitely struggling with labor shortages, which is, backlinking the hourly wages for, labor. So just to give you some numbers, before 2021, the hourly wages were between $9 to $12. And at this point in time, the running hourly wages are between $18 to $25, per hour. So, and also in few of the cities, it can go up to $30 to $35 per hour as well. Now, it is almost a more than 100% hike in hourly wages, which has not happened, quite often. Like last decade or so, we have not seen such a massive shift in hourly wages. So definitely there is an opportunity to be more efficient and also to help both enterprise and end customers to be more efficient to deliver items. Our customer segments are broken down into three categories. One is big box retail, likes of Walmart, Kroger, or even e-commerce giants like Amazon. Then we have quick service restaurants, which includes McDonald's, Chick-fil-A, and others based out of US. And also airports. Now, airports is considerably a smaller market, but it was our go-to market strategy because there we got some idea of dynamic environment, yet yet it was organized in a certain way. So we were the world's first to do autonomous deliveries at airports, and right now we are live at Cincinnati International Airport. Sorry, and also Rome International Airport. So these are the two airports where we are live already, delivering food and beverages, where people can order post-security check, and the items will be delivered to their departure gates. Very recently, we are also working with Changi International Airport to do movement of duty-free goods from different terminals, from different sources, shops to different terminals. So that is something which is also in the pipeline. So I'll move a little forward. So broadly, all the scenarios which we are covering are broken down into two areas. One is outdoor deliveries, which we specifically call hyperlocal delivery segment. It can be last mile within a working radius of anywhere between 1.5 to 2 miles, and curbside, wherein the robots can bring items from inside the store to the outside. Indoor deliveries, we are focusing around airports, malls, and retail centers. So 4 key highlights about the product which we have called Autobots. Number 1, they're L4 autonomous. What that means is almost all the operations are fully autonomous. But if there is any edge case or if there is any regulatory mandate, in those scenarios, the robots can be teleoperated, from a web console. So you don't have to have a person in line of sight, but anywhere in the world, people can control these robots, designated, controllers. Second is plug and play. So, all the robot fleets are connected with a set of APIs. So right now we have integrated with, different type of, APIs, both for aggregators and also for restaurant native apps. So that makes it like, plug and play for any enterprise to have these robots as a delivery medium. Third is that we do both indoor and outdoor operations seamlessly. So many of our competitors are purely focused on, the localization of these robots using GNSS. Now, we have a specific technique with which, we create a map of the area, and we do not, rely on GPS, GPS points to know where exactly we are. So that makes it indifferent for us to be either in indoor or outdoor environments. And the last point is scalable and modular. Now, what we realized was that different businesses had different needs. Few wanted a large compartment for groceries where a single order can, be delivered. But at the same time, few of our customers in Middle East, like Aramax, they wanted 8 compartments in the robot so that the smaller packages can be delivered in a single trip. 8 deliveries can be made, unique deliveries. So how to achieve this? Most of our competitors, or any competitors in the market, they have the compartment and the robot as a single unit. But what we have done is we have done the cabins which can be customized based on their business requirements. That is very well resonating with many customers of ours. Couple of examples here, like, so this is the standard robots with 2 delivery options. This is something which we launched in this year's CES, where, ours was the first robot to do any unattended deliveries. So packages, specifically e-commerce packages, can be dropped from the robot to a locker or to a specific, a place outside your home. So that way, for food and beverage, everybody is like waiting for your order, and they are there to pick up order from the robot. But if you ordered a pair of shoes, I mean, you're not waiting outside your home to, collect the package. So with this mode, we can actually deliver the packages in the, I'm so sorry, in the lockers. This is another version which we are currently focusing on. So this is kind of locker on wheels, where we have 4 lockers on the robot platform itself. And these 4 lockers can be used for 4 deliveries in a single trip. So these are the multiple configurations which we had. So broadly, what we are trying to achieve is fulfilling the hyperlocal deliveries. And these locker on wheels are also, can be considered as, as a replacement to the existing fixed lockers, which are there in, most parts of the US and also in Japan. Because, the fixed lockers like FedEx, Harbor, or, even Amazon lockers for that matter, they give you a fixed, pickup and drop point for the vans to deliver and also for the customers. But with these robots, you can both, definitely you can get the items from this point because these mobile lockers are actually there waiting for you. But you can also summon it to your home. So, at some point in time, 8 o'clock in the evening, you're back home. And that is the time when you want your deliveries. So you don't have to travel to the locker. The locker can come to you. So with this, we are working very closely with Amazon. We have just signed up an MSA with Amazon right now. And we'll be doing pilots for, almost 6 months at 2 different locations in the US in 2024. let's dive into a little bit of technology, and I touched upon earlier. So what we do is we do not rely on localization using GNSS. Rather, what we do is we identify geometric information from the 3D LiDARs and semantic information from the cameras. I'll give you an example to understand it better. So from this, 3D point cloud, we identify geometric information like this pillar. At the same time, from the cameras, we infer that there is a number, which is number 16. Now we fuse this information together and we come to a conclusion that there is a pillar number 16. Now this becomes a landmark in the map. So that's how we localize. And this is exactly how humans also localize. If you've been to any new location, you try to localize yourself where, hey, I'm just outside a Zara showroom. So, that's how you localize and navigate a new terrain. So this is something which we launched in, NVIDIA GTC 1.5 years back. And we have been constantly working, and that makes us so different that we can do both indoor and outdoor navigation seamlessly. At the same time, we have a fallback teleoperation, software with which we can at all times see what's happening around the robots, and both operationally and also visually, and generate analytics over the period of time that how many orders were delivered, what were the street areas where the orders can be are coming from, and which is very much required for operational efficiency. Lastly, our robots always had a screen in front. Now we have also added a screen at the back. And what we are also doing is that these robots can have digital out of home, advertisements on the robot, which again is, additional revenue stream, apart from doing delivery service. A good example of this is that, we are making more revenue from these robots at the Rome airport, using advertisement as a service compared to delivery as a service. So it is just, doubling our revenue from the same customer. So that's something which is unique to us compared to any of our competitors. We do generate digital twins while deploying these robots, but we haven't started monetizing it yet. Let me know how am I doing on the time, so that I can quickly move forward. So
yeah, you have two more minutes. I think we can also see a small strip on the above, which shows basically the zoom. So we can see the zoom strip also. Yeah, now it's perfect.
It's better. I'm so sorry. I thought that it's only for my view. Okay. So just to go back, you haven't missed anything. So broadly, this is what we talked about if it was covered under the zoom strip. And these were the digital twins which we were talking about. Now, if we compare to our competitors, we have competitors like Starship and Serve Robotics. Serve recently went public with, where they are specifically focused on hyperlocal last mile deliveries. And Starship is the oldest company in this particular segment. Now, if we look at the level of autonomy, the major differentiator comes in from from the underlying technology. So most of our competitors which have scaled in last 2 years, they were primarily teleoperated, and it will take good amount of pivot for them to go for fully autonomous operations. Now, the only competitor in terms of level of autonomy which we have is Serve Robotics, because we have the same, starting point from the beginning of having 3D LiDARs and cameras together to solve the autonomous level of autonomy problem. At this point in time, none of our competitors are doing, multiple deliveries at the same time, and none of them have the digital out-of-home advertisement option. So that makes us really different from a perspective that we have one, additional revenue stream, second, customizable cabins, and third, a large enough size for which the L4 autonomous robots can be moved on the sidewalks. Here's a capability quick comparison. So as I said, configurable payloads is something which none of the other guys have. Both indoor and outdoor autonomous navigation is something which none of other guys have. And same goes with digital, GPS denied and unattended delivery options. So that is something which is completely missing from any of our competitors. This is something which we have done in the past. Like we've, as I said, like we've been working with Walmart since like almost a year and a half. We finished the store trials in Canada, and that was successful. And now we are working with them how to roll it out further. All the Verizon innovation labs in the US right now have one of the Autobots as part of their innovation program, and they're working heavily on using 5G technologies on these robots. And lastly, we have currently, customers across North America, Europe, and Middle East. Middle East, we have Neom and also Aramax, which have been recently added. Here's the pipeline, broad pipeline, major customers which we have apart from the contracts which we have in signed contracts of almost $3.5 million. But we have major customers which are coming in, like right from Aramax, Chick-fil-A, and Amazon, which are due next year. Now, one of the most important customers which we think is going to be important for us is something which we are doing some work with Kawasaki in Japan. So we recently signed up a pilot with Kawasaki, wherein most of our sorry, just move it on the side. Sorry. So what we are working up with Kawasaki is a pilot in Tokyo for last mile delivery in which are completely autonomous. Now, just to give you a background, that is our first entry point in Japan, and we are exploring more partners. And the Kawasaki pilots are going to start in they're going to be public trials, which will be happening starting from February. And that is our first entry point in Japan. That being said, the reason why we got down selected was that there are multiple delivery robotics companies which are operating in Japan or piloting in Japan at this point in time. But very few of them, or actually none of them based on our customers' input, which are completely autonomous. Most of them require human intervention while navigating in the real life scenarios. So that's a good validation point. At the same time, that opens up the dialogue here that, how can we be more active in, Japan market, given that, the Japanese government has already laid out all the requirements for the robots, which our delivery robots satisfy. This is something which we discussed, like, Amazon on the wheels, basically locker on the wheels concept, which we're working with Amazon. So fast forward, we've been backed by Pi Ventures based out of India, Kinetic Ventures, which is a retail tech focus based out of Cincinnati, Branded Hospitality Ventures, which is a food tech investor based out of New York, and ADR Ventures, which is a venture arm of Airport di Roma, Rome Airport. So out of this, we have raised so far $5.4 million. We are in the process of raising our next round, and would love to understand if there is any interest. Please reach out to us. We'll walk you through the process. That's the team. So 4 co-founders here. I personally have around 60 plus patents in the space of autonomous driving and robotics. Our CTO, Pradyot, has deployed more than 100 plus robots in the warehousing space. And now he's leading the AI aspects of all the delivery robots of autonomous navigation. Ashish Gupta, he is a BTech from IIT Roorkee, which is one of the most primary, college within India. Both Pradyot and Ashish are from, IIT Madras and IIT Roorkee. And he is behind all the manufacturing and design of the robots. And Hardik also, happened to be my college junior, an ex-Grey Orange robotics company. So he takes care of all the integration of cloud and hardware robots. We have an extended team across the globe. So far, we are around 58 people, out of which we have 12 people which are spread across US, Europe, and Canada, and around 35 to 45 people are in India right now. So that's about it. Shamelessly, I'll bring it up. So in last 2.5 years of journey, we have been featured on all the major publications, and Also, we were listed as Robotics 50, RBR 50 Innovation Awards twice. So one in 2021 and another one this year, 2023, for our Autobots. So that's about it. Please, let me know if you have any questions.
Thanks a lot, Ritukar, for your time and presentation. I think we have one question in the Q&A box. Comparing to Japanese ZMP products, what is your advantage?
So when it comes to so based on our customer feedback, they have tested with most of the delivery robotics companies. Now, one of the major differentiator which we have is we have already some prowess of working these robots autonomously in rain and during and after snowfall. So that is something which we have. We ran these robots in Oslo with the postal department of Norway, and also in Spain, where the fleet is continuously running, making deliveries every day. So, I mean, from that perspective, we have larger deployment experience, along with the prowess to run these robots autonomously in those, weather conditions.
Got it. Also interesting to know that you'll have a pilot with Kawasaki. So
yeah, I mean, we are excited. We are excited to enter Japan because that is definitely one of the most important markets. Because the problem is the same, right? So the labor shortage is high. At the same time, that is a big enough problem to be solved in the region. And government has also been very proactive. They have already laid out the regulations of what these robots, what minimum features these robots should have, and we comply to all of them. So yeah.
Great. Thanks. Thanks a lot, Ritukar, for your time again. I will get back to you in case there's any introduction request.
So there's an additional question I just came in.
Oh,
so we don't have a partner in Japan yet. So, with the customer pilots, we'll be doing all by ourselves at this point in time. But we are open to the, right set of partners with which we can scale. So definitely, from a language barrier perspective, specifically navigating outside Tokyo, it will be a tough task for, a completely remote team to actually navigate that market. And specifically for business development also, I think it's an important thing that we have the right set of partners in Japan. We are open for that.
Yep, and there's, I guess, one quick question from Sashotan, operating time and charging time.
So on a single charge, these robots work for 5 hours. And apart from, and the charging time is around 45 minutes. So, but we also have a swap option where the robot batteries can be swapped. So after each 4-hour operation, we can just swap the batteries and then it goes for another 4 hours. So in total, we have been servicing these robots, working with these robots almost 12 hours shift. 12 to 14 hours shift, 7 days a week at 2 of our customer locations.
Got it. In case there are any more questions, please feel free to directly reach out to us. We would be really happy to connect you with Ritukar and Ottonomy. Thanks.
Thank you, Tanmay. Thank you, team, everyone, for having patience. Sorry for my bad throat.
No, please take
can't
care.
help it.
Please take care, Ritukar.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye. Oh, there was one more question. I think we can directly connect this attendee with Ritukar-san, Kawasaki-san. Moving on.
Yeah.
Yes, we already have.
Yeah. Okay, at this question later.
Yes. Sorry for that, for skipping this question, but we would be really happy to directly introduce you with Ottonomy. We have Gursimran San, who has already joined from Zero Robotics. So Zero is actually developing an AI enabled self-driving autonomous vehicle. Gursimran is one of the co-founders of Zero Robotics. And over to you, I think, Gursimran. He's a graduate from the Sri Ram College of Commerce, SRCC, which is a well-known institute in India. You can share your screen as well.
Sure. Thanks, Anmay. Thanks for the kind introduction. We're really glad to be over here. I hope my screen is visible.
Yes, it's visible.
Yes.
On the attendees side, as you can see, we have Japanese corporates. We have Otaki-san and Kawasaki-san from Jetro, who have been kind enough for partnering with us for this event.
Oh, thank you. Thanks for the introduction, and really glad to meet you all here. It's a pleasure for us to be participating in this. And sorry, just like Ritukar, I also have a bad throat, so please excuse me for that. But okay. So at -0, we are India's first autonomous vehicle startup. We are pioneering fully autonomous vehicles without any driver in place. We are working on-road roads, unlike the previous startup. We are working on the on-road campuses. We are fairly new in this domain. Almost like 2 years into it, but we have already seen a lot of traction, lot of market research, a lot of market validation coming our way in over 2 years as well. So let me go through our journey with you. So on this June 4th, 2023, we call it a Z Day. We made history by introducing India's first autonomous vehicle live on campus roads in India. So which was taken by the co-founder of Infosys. The first ride was taken by Mr. co-founder of Krishnan, Mr. Chris Gopala Krishnan, who said that after taking the ride, that it's a small ride for me, but a giant leap for mankind and India for this new sector. So let me give you a quick demo of how the ride looked like. What were all the things that we have experienced in this particular field, and then we can take it forward from there. So that was Z-Pod, India's first autonomous vehicle live in action for you guys. So this Z-Pod is specifically meant for in-campus environment, inside of campuses like robotic parks, tech parks, industrial institutes, somewhere like airports, theme parks, resorts on the other end. So all these things we are catering for that. It's completely driverless. There is no place for even a driver to sit, or a steering wheel or a brake, any medals to work around with. It's completely camera based. That's one of the proprietary technologies that we are building on. The entire vehicle is fully vision based technology. You might have heard about different companies pioneering in vision based technology across the world, but this is true vision autonomy, which we call as, which does not have any other sensor other than cameras inside the vehicle. So everything and the vehicle is done only using cameras. We do not have any dependency on LiDARs. We do not need to construct high definition maps, like which are millimeter level accuracy maps, which you would have seen companies outside India who are in West, specifically in US. They have to map each and every corner of the city to plan it for that particular area. But our vehicle constructs the map on real time. It does not have any map fed in that place. It takes map from Google Maps just like we as humans do, but it is constructing every map on the real time basis. It does not require very high end GPS RTK system, which is normally a requirement in most of the developed countries, where you have to have very high end GPS, very high end LiDARs, everything fetched up in form of HD maps, which increases the cost of deployment as well as manufacturing of these vehicles to a very high extent, which makes it very impossible to bring these vehicles live in action on on the roads where they can, where users can actually interact with it. Now, the best part about is how this is all being done. It is powered by a proprietary technology, which we call as nature-inspired AI, which is how an AI thinks just like as humans would do. So our AI is being super built on the concepts of how a normal human would interact with the nature, how a normal human would drive a vehicle. You and me just have two eyes to drive, and yet we are able to drive in multiple parts, in multiple geographies, in multiple vehicles. If let's say if I had learned to drive in Bangalore over here in India, and I am asked to drive in Tokyo, I mean, I will not have to learn the entire concepts all and over again, right? It's just that a natural extent of my driving abilities. I might need to learn the regulations and rules in Tokyo specifically, but that's it. I can quickly start driving in that part of the world as well. And this is what our vehicles also, are able to do that. They are geography agnostic, they are use case agnostic. They can deploy from a people mover to a logistic mover. They can quickly transfer them from that part of the paradigm. And also they are vehicle agnostic. I mean, today you are seeing a 4-seater vehicle over here right now. If you want to expand to a 8-seater or a 12-seater vehicle also, it can quickly expand to that as well. If the OEM partners whom we are working with gives us the platform that we want to integrate this technology on, we can definitely integrate that technology over there. So first of all, now why do we need AVs? As we all know that current mobility apparatus is quite efficient. We have calculated that cost of mobility in just India, which contributes from unsafe driving, inefficient driving, lot of congestion on the roads, unequal access to mobility, and unsustainable environment around us. All these things cumulatively cost a single country $22 billion, and that's a huge cost that of mobility which we are working day and around. For example, I have to move from one place to the other place. If I am stuck in traffic, I'm losing that 2 hours of productivity which I would have rather used in somewhere else. So when autonomous vehicles come into picture and they make the roads much more safer and much more equitable for everyone, it reduces all those inefficiencies from the picture. And also safety is one paradigm shift which we have been all talking about. In India, we lose over 150,000 people every year. That's largest in the world, and we are working head and shoulders to cater to this problem by making autonomous vehicles safer than human beings. So now, while autonomous driving is definitely a promising field, many people have trying to do this. People have spent over $100 billion in the R&D of AVs, yet the results are not satisfactory. Yet the autonomous vehicles are still facing a lot of headblocks in terms of multiple ways, whether it's to technology, related to regulations, related to public adoption. There are multiple headblocks which have made autonomous vehicles not yet a phenomena that we can all go and ride into it. So that's what we have been coming to picture. Why we understood from the technological point of view, while we are a technology company, we understood the technological barriers which they are and how we can address them. Specifically, what we call is in the traditional AI and robotics industry, that the entire industry is driven by a robotics paradigm industry, which is they consider the real life world as a robotics world, as how would a robot would understand that particular world. But that's very indifferent from how a human would try to understand the vehicle. For example, a robot would need millions of miles of data to understand what is going on the road. They would require to understand a single road over and over again to actually get used to that particular road and to drive just in that particular road. Whereas as humans, if I learn to drive on one particular road, I do not need to move to need to learn to drive again if I go to the next road. So that's a completely different shift from a human way to a robot way. That actually brings to my second problem, that is how do we scale this technology? Because if robots cannot expand this way of learning, how we can actually scale this autonomous vehicles to the entire world? This makes it very cumbersome approach to do that, and they're ridiculously expensive. I mean, if you are putting 10 to 15,000 lidar on a single robot, which you need particularly more than 5 to 6 lidars on a single vehicle, it's ridiculously expensive a vehicle. I mean, a normal consumer will not purchase $100,000 vehicle with all the fancy sensors around it and yet be comfortable with it just for the autonomy part of it. I mean, that will not make sense over the longer period of time. And we try to solve it with multiple AI problems, but again, the AI suffers from this particular way as well. AI is basically a data science machine which requires more data, more compute, and bigger models to serve for that. Now, what we are proposing is you take inspiration from human mind. How a human brain works is what we take inspiration from. Using it consume less than 40 watts of power. It can drive all the things which in anywhere of the world you want to drive. Quickly adapts to one situation to the other person. For example, if I move from one place to the other place, it can quickly adapt. From one vehicle to the other vehicle, it can quickly adapt. It does not need to retrain everything. And it can learn on the go as well. This is what we are proposing. This is what we introduced, the concept of nature-inspired AI that is inspired from biological and social intelligence. How we take inspiration from human intelligence is what we have catered to here. I'll quickly explain what are the three principles to nature-inspired AI. The three things are called representation, prediction, and adaptation. A detailed paper is already available on our website. If you want to read in detail about what nature-inspired AI is, what it proposes, a very detailed research paper is already published on our website. You can go through that in detail. I'll quickly cover through things. There are three parameters which we consider in nature-inspired AI. How we represent the world in very nuanced basis as how a human brain would understand. Taking neuroscience principles into it, applying physical boundaries and physical laws of the environment on top of it, and then understanding how a human brain would represent the entire world in its domain. Then predicting what the other vehicle will be able to do in next 5 seconds, predicting what it is going to do, and that's what we do. And then finally adapting, making the vehicle learn and drive on that particular prediction is what nature-inspired AI proposes. Adapting from one vehicle to the other vehicle, from one form factor of the vehicle to the other form factor of vehicle. That's what our AI technology primarily does. And we do this with nearly zero data approach, which is we call as which is a paradigm shift in the industry, whereas people see that AI basically means more and more data. We primarily say AI do not mean more and more data, it means more and more intelligent data. And that's how we do. Basically, it's just a demo of our generative AI, how we use the data. Any kind of mask which we get from the world, we construct multiple images out of that generate with just using prompts. Just like you would have seen ChatGPT's prompts, and it would give you very insightful answers to it. We use that on imagery models, imagery vision, and use that technology to generate millions of miles of driving data without actually collecting that data on the road. That's how we are taking it forward. Now we believe that road to L5 is still a long way to go. L5 autonomy basically means that autonomy is introducing everywhere and every time in the world. We still believe there's a long way to go, but the kind of approach that we are going to take is what we are going to define the journey over next 5 to 7 years. We basically believe if we take inspiration from human brain and introduce the principles of nature-inspired AI to predict the entire next journey, it is where we can get so far very quickly. Now, while we are doing that, what we are doing in the meantime is we are fulfilling a lot of product problems inside campus mobility, be it corporate parks, residential societies, university campuses, airports, resorts, public rapid transports, multiple areas where currently our Z-Pod can go, be live in action, and can solve problems over there. So that's what we have been doing. After the launch of our Z-Pod on June 4th, within next one and a half months, we have already received a traction of more than 100 Z-Pods we are serving worldwide. So basically, we are in next 1 year, we are going to deploy over 100 Z-Pods across the world in different parts of the country, where people inside campuses can use multiple vehicles. They can just book the vehicle on their app as you would book an Ola or Uber, and the nearest vehicle would come to you, pick you wherever you want to go. You put your dropping point inside the particular campus, and we'll drop you there. As simple as that. And if you are thinking of from a logistic point of view, similarly, you have access to the points already marked in the map where you want the logistic goods to be delivered from one point to the other point. You can call our vehicle, the vehicle will come to that particular place, it will pick your goods up and deliver to the next stop, wherever you want to go. As simple as that, just mobility on the go, mobility in your hand. So that's the future of mobility we imagine happening in the world. We are pioneering fully driverless mobility with just camera-based sensors, which decreases the cost of these vehicles to a very high extent. So we are hoping to bring this to action in multiple countries. So we have, if you haven't seen the vehicle or video of a Z-Pod, we have already received more than 10 million views on our social media channels, covered by almost major business houses across the world. There are multiple partners whom we are working with over for deployment of these vehicles. Lastly, before I conclude, I would like to point out to this thing. We believe we are setting up AV ecosystem in India, which is traditionally not available yet. We are building what we call a Z Alliance, where we are building all the partners together to actually build a full-end AV ecosystem, not just only in India, but for the world to entertain. For example, multiple OEM partners who can come over here, use our technology to integrate inside their vehicles and can deploy that. Multiple strategic partners who believe that they have a technology which they can integrate with our technology and can actually be benefited across the world. Government and regulators who want to introduce new regulations, new certifications in the ways of autonomous vehicles. We are working around with them. And finally, on the demand side, wherever people who want to introduce these vehicles in campuses, we are happy to introduce that as well. So we are open for strategic collaborations, partnerships across all these domains in the Japanese environment as well. We are very eager and excited to understand more about your needs, how we can solve your particular needs. We're already in talks with some of the Japanese players who we can introduce this technology on the later phases, from the logistic point of view to the OEM point of view to the strategic partners point of view as well. So any concept, any interest that we have, we are happy to explore. Talking about people who have backed us, we have raised close to $2 million of funding in our only one round of funding, which we have received. We are just a 2-year-old company, but we have received good amount of funding for that. Now we are moving forward to in the process of a next round of fundraise to actually get to our next milestone, which is expanding our mobility horizons, bringing these robots from in-campus mobility to public roads, catering to the demands and regulations. So for that purpose, please feel free to reach out to us. Yeah. So over to you. Any questions? Any answer? Happy to answer. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Guru Simran. Yeah, we will wait for a minute if there are any questions. Yeah, I think there's a question. How do you update benchmarking and target?
Yeah. So basically, we have what we call as 3 layers to benchmarking and target. We call it 3 layers of V&V strategy, which we call verification and validation. Basically, first is hardware in loop, second is software in loop, and third is vehicle in loop. So these are 3 multiple things which we cater to in the entire benchmarking horizon. So basically, right from the point how the vehicle is being tested, how the vehicle is receiving to the command, we call this as a hardware in loop testing. We do it rigorously before introducing any software into it. Then we have great variety of simulators in-house on which we do software in loop testing, on which the software keeps on running again and again, keeps on collecting data, keeps on benchmarking again and again to understand real life environment. That's where we do software in loop testing. And then we combine both of these together in a vehicle in loop testing, where we have partnered with multiple campuses inside India, where we do very thorough and rigorous testing over there. So these are a 3-part process to how we do benchmarking and testing for this purpose.
Got it. Anything that you would need help from Japan, Guru Simran?
Sure.
We close, I thought I'll ask that question.
Sure. So basically, we are definitely excited about the prospect of Japan as a market, about how autonomous vehicles they see in particular. We believe that there is a huge market need which we can address with our autonomous vehicles. be it from normal people mover to long range logistic delivery to forming partnerships with relevant people who are willing to contribute in our journey. So right from strategic partners to OEMs to technology manufacturers, whoever wants to collaborate with us, whoever wants to partner with us, we are open to it, and we look forward to go forward with them.
Great. Thanks, Gursimran. It would be really helpful if you could share the PPT for our records. Thank you again for your time and presentation.
Sure. Thanks, Anvay. Thanks for having me. Thank you for organizing this.
Thanks. Bye.
Okay. Bye.
Great. I think we are towards the end. I would like to extend thank you to Otaki-san, Kawasaki-san, Jetro and Meti for this event. And again, thanks a lot for all the attendees for patiently hearing all the presentations. We are looking forward to any introductions with the startups. Thanks again. Over to you.
Thank you. 皆様ありがとうございました。